everyone, welcome back to our podcast, Genuine. Hi, this is Navya.
And this is Prakriti.
So today I have a question for you, Prakriti. I know the answer. Do you point out people who are doing this wrong and this is the right thing for you to do?
Like calling people out.
Yeah.
I think I do nowadays. I don't know why, but recently I've started doing that a lot more than I did before. Even the slightest of things that I think is wrong, I just point it out. First of all, it feels weird because I know like we're all like not perfect, but I think recently I like watched a few documentaries and stuff, and since then I'm just like, it's not right. Like you should just tell them that it's not okay. Is this the context you were talking about, or
anything, if it's something related to the environment. And for me, I feel like I started pointing out people a lot if they're wasting paper, water, or like electricity. I just go and just like, you should stop doing that. We should recycle paper. Don't throw this away. And I feel like it's more of how we know that this is what they're doing is wrong, so we go ahead and tell them.
That reminds me actually. So when you talk about like calling people out, so basically recently my relatives came over. They were just talking about like weddings and stuff. They just said that तू तो अपने लिए लड़का ढूंढ लेगी. And I just pointed out, लड़की भी हो सकती है, and everyone dismissed it really quickly.
Same. And also another example is my cousin brother. And I've been told not to put girly filters on him. He likes it, and then everyone's like, it's not right for him to like those. But the thing is, I'm like so annoyed. And even if he likes that filters, what's the issue? It's his choice. If I, for example, like a boy cut hairstyle, you can't tell me it's not girly enough.
Exactly. And I have a lot of examples coming to mind, but I have a question. Who do you think like you point out most commonly stuff to, and why? Why do you think it's them?
Honestly, I feel like I point out stuff to all age groups around me. May it be my grandparents, people my parents' age around me, including my friends, about so many other stuff, which is so annoying that I need to tell them also, but I have.
Let's talk more about this actually. Why do you think we have to point stuff out to our friends? And also, I can imagine that's annoying because I know I've done it and it feels kind of weird because they're like the same age group as yours. So you like equals in that way. So you don't want to seem superior by like telling them, oh, what you're doing is wrong. But sometimes you just have to point it out.
Exactly. Okay, so there's this friend of mine. Recently, for the past week, he's made some comments.
Banter.
Yeah, he said because you're a girl and stuff like that, and I just shout on him with all my energy. I'm like, the fact that it came out of your mouth is wrong. Came in your mind for the slightest of the second is not right.
Imagine if the same thing was like coming from one of your relatives. I feel like you will be less furious at the relatives than at your friends. Why do you think you're more angry when it's your friends?
Because I feel like them being like our age, I expect them to understand what we are feeling or what we are facing. We expect them to understand that our generation is technically supposed to be very evoke and like aware about what's happening around. For our parents, our grandparents, or people older than us, we just know that okay, they've been brought up a certain way, they've been raised a certain way, and it's kind of all right in that sense. It's going to take time for them to change, but for us, we've been brought up in an environment like this where we've been taught that this is wrong.
We haven't been brought up in this way. If we just have like access to so many things that allow us to unlearn whatever we're saying, like for example at home we may not have been brought up with like the idea that yes, it's okay to be like a part of the LGBTQ community, but we have like access to social media with the kinds of conversations that we have around us. It's just made it easier for you to be open-minded. Personally, I would be mad at my friends because I feel like it's so easy to be open-minded for us because we're like at the stage where we can learn, right? Like we can choose to learn whatever we want to learn, and if you're still conforming to all the stereotypes and all the traditions just because they're traditions, like why?
But it's honestly, I feel like for us also, it does kind of take time for us to like unlearn things or change. I don't think it's easier to unlearn things, but it's easier to learn more perspectives or be like more aware of things nowadays. For a fact, I know that I have been consciously making an effort to change my point of views about certain things, because now I know that that's wrong or that's right. Sometimes even I end up making certain comments and then I, consciously tell myself that what I've just said was wrong. What came in my mind was so wrong, and I need to change my perspective about this. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I have started doing that very consciously recently, which I feel like might be the case with our friends. But I feel like once I've pointed it out to you, I don't think it's okay for you to repeat that 3-4 times in a short
Yeah, that just shows that you weren't like that you didn't like you didn't care. I personally, honestly, if someone pointed something out to me, I feel like I'll just be too embarrassed. Cancel culture. So it's like I'll just be scared that I'll get cancelled, and then I'll just be overtly conscious of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not only conscious because I don't want to get cancelled, it's because I genuinely care and want to be more open-minded and considerate of others. But some of it is credit to that cancel culture, which I understand is deeply problematic. Actually, you know what? I don't want to start a debate in cancel culture, but do you think this plays a part in us becoming more open minded?
To some extent, I feel it does. Like subconsciously, it does make a difference. If someone points me out on something that I know was right, like that pointed me out for the right thing, I would be like, oh my god, I've done something wrong, and it is going to affect me in a subconscious way.
Oh, talking about this actually. So basically, like just like 2 weeks ago, we were like talking about, oh, makeup is like your own choice and you can do whatever I want. And then the next day I told you that, oh, never you're making wearing too much makeup. And then I just felt so bad about that. And I texted you, like, I'm really sorry. And it genuinely, like, till now, like I'm still like really, really sorry about that, because I just feel like we're in an environment where I understand my mistakes. Like as you said, we are like both consciously working towards it, and I just expect everyone like our age to be doing the same thing.
And I feel like it's more important to understand your mistake. I can't expect everyone to think the same way we do or have the same mindset like us, but I can at least expect them to try and understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I've had like some very recent conversations with a lot of people from our generation about this in around my family, and how it's important to share your perspective with each other.
Another thing I wanted to ask was, to what extent is it okay to call out adults? For example, recently, one of our teachers made this remark about spending your dad's money. And I was just offended because I'm like, what do you mean my dad's money? How can you like make the assumption that my dad is like the working person in the house? But I didn't point that out because I felt like it's an honest mistake. Sometimes I'm just like pointing out really tiny, tiny mistakes. But then later I was just thinking, should we just leave things and assume that they were honest mistakes, or like should we go ahead and point people out?
I personally feel like I have pointed it out to so many people recently that what you're doing is not right. I know it can be a little awkward and it might just seem a little offensive, but if we're aiming to bring a change, it's really important to actually point it out. I have started pointing like my family out at so many things, and I know it probably gets very annoying for them at a point, even for like electricity and stuff. Recently, because of the coal crisis going on, I had this little discussion with my dad the other day. We were just talking about saving electricity, power, and stuff. And he was like, yeah, we waste too much resources. And we have a way to kind of stop everything that's happening, but we choose not to.
Connecting this back to what we were talking about. For example, in context of this coal crisis, a lot of people would probably agree that yes, we should save electricity, and they're not in denial of the fact that they shouldn't, but they will just simply continue to do it. It's also very similar to like people who do not believe in stereotypes and understand that yes, it is completely absolutely wrong to like have them, and they truly in like inside them believe that yes, we should like gradually eradicate all of these stereotypes, but they still continue to make banter on it, and it just doesn't make sense. This is also why we should call people out, because more often than not they know that it's wrong. You just need to remind them that it's wrong. Like a lot of times people inside them actually believe what the same thing as you believe, they just like falter. Like if I'm saying something which is like problematic and my friends just remind me that it's problematic, I probably knew that it was problematic. I just faltered for that 1 second because of like my roots, like how we've grown up, or like just reflex. And just to like change that, if you point it out once, it like makes a huge difference.
And I mean, I would just like to share something. So basically, one of my friends for the past few months have been pointing out on a very, like, on something that I'm very insecure about, like delicate thing that I've been very sensitive about recently. I can't point it out because I just feel like it might be wrong, but someday if I get the courage to point it out, I'm definitely going to tell them.
And the thing is, this will not only like benefit you, like it first for it'll feel like great, and it also has like a larger impact. Like every time you think that, like, if I'm going to point something out, it's going to be awkward. It might be awkward for like that 1 or 2 seconds, but later it not only impacts you, it also impacts other people. Like, this is literally how change starts. Like when somebody says that they don't want to do anything because what difference will it make? It actually does make a difference. Like if you pointed out to her or them or him once, right? After that one time, they're probably not gonna behave in that same manner for like a lot of other people. And if somebody else like repeats what they did in the past, they might get the courage to like point it out to them.
And it's also like very important to understand when you're saying something in a funny way, or when you're saying something in a serious manner, or something that you actually, if someone's joking, then I mean, I feel like it's very important to distinguish between the two of these things, that if someone's being serious or they're joking while you're considering name calling, because sometimes we just think that the person's joking and they might be serious, and like we've calling them out. Or sometimes the person might actually be very serious about it, and we take it as a joke and don't name call them, or like don't call them out for that thing, which I feel can be like troublesome.
I think, especially for like our own generation, we should call them out either ways, because if they were joking, right, they'd appreciate that we were being considerate about this just in case they were being serious. And in case they were being serious, then like you should definitely call them out. So, I mean, either ways, it just works, especially for like everyone our age.
That is so true. And even though it's scary to point it out, once you do it, it becomes easier, and you become like more and more confident about speaking up for these things, irrespective of whoever you're like talking to or in conversation with.
Yes, exactly. Also, adding to that, very recent example, and I think something that I personally consider very important, like right now, is for example, like Diwali is coming up, and a lot of people around me were actually looking for crackers. And one of my friends, like I was just talking to her, okay, and they were like, I could hear crackers in my society. I couldn't figure out where they're coming from, and I just told him, like, it's so annoying when people burst crackers. Like, why are they still doing that? Like, we're in 2021, everyone knows bursting crackers is wrong. And then she was like, one packet of fujiri is fine. And I was just really disappointed at her for like the 1 hour walk we had after that. I just think it's like these small things that now that I did call her out, she will try to consciously make a decision. Like when if she happens to find crackers, she will think about it. Should I or should I not burst crackers? And I think it's like that small change that can make a difference. For example, even I burst crackers up till like fifth grade. And then, I just realized that no, it's not fine. That it's just that one Diwali where you decide that no, I will not burst crackers. And that's just how like the chain begins.
Yeah, and I feel like if you can't think of any future ideas or something, it's fine. Just look at what's happening around you. If you think if someone's doing anything wrong, just go ahead and tell them that you're not doing the right thing. And it could be like these are some very small steps that you may take, but could make like a huge difference. Because now that you've pointed your friend out about the crackers thing, she might go ahead and point like a few other
her own friends out.
exactly. And then that's how we make or like create a chain. And well, I guess that's it for today's episode, and we can wrap it up on that note. That kind of conclude, I think we think it's important to kind of call out people if you think they're doing the wrong thing, and be aware of your surroundings and just things happening. So thank you so much for listening to us today.
And happy Diwali to everyone watching,
Happy
hearing.
Diwali. See you next time.
Bye.